Have you ever met someone and instantly felt like you could trust them, even though you barely knew them? Or maybe you've walked away from a conversation feeling uncomfortable, but you couldn't explain why. Have you ever found yourself repeating the same mistakes, attracting the same kind of people, or sabotaging opportunities that could have changed your life? Most people think they make decisions consciously, but what if I told you that a huge part of your life is being directed by a part of your mind that operates silently in the background? A part of your mind that remembers everything. A part that notices things you don't. A part that shapes your habits, fears, relationships, confidence, and even your future. That part is your subconscious mind. And the truth is, most people spend their entire lives being controlled by it without ever realizing it. Imagine sitting inside a car. Your conscious mind is holding the steering wheel. It feels like you're in control. You're making decisions. You're choosing where to go. But here's the problem. The subconscious mind is the engine. Without it, the car doesn't move. And most of the time, the engine is deciding far more than the driver. Psychologists estimate that a large percentage of our daily actions happen automatically. Think about it. When was the last time you consciously thought about how to tie your shoes, how to walk, how to type on your phone, how to brush your teeth? You don't. Your subconscious handles it. But it doesn't stop there. It also stores emotional memories, beliefs, patterns, fears, and silent assumptions about yourself and the world. Some of those assumptions were formed years ago, sometimes during childhood, sometimes after heartbreak, sometimes after rejection, and many of them still influence your life today, even if you've forgotten where they came from. This is one of the most fascinating things about the subconscious mind. It loves familiarity, not happiness, not success, not growth. Familiarity. That's an important distinction, because sometimes what's familiar isn't good for you, yet you keep returning to it. You tell yourself you'll stop texting the wrong person, then you do it again. You promise yourself you'll be more confident. Then you shrink yourself the moment you're around certain people. You decide to trust yourself. Then doubt creeps in for no apparent reason. The subconscious doesn't ask whether something is healthy. It asks one question. Is this familiar? Because familiar feels safe, even when it hurts. This is why some people stay in toxic situations for years, not because they enjoy suffering, but because their subconscious has become comfortable with what it knows. And leaving the familiar often feels more frightening than staying where they are. Here's something many people don't realize. Your subconscious mind is constantly listening, not just to what others say, but to what you say about yourself. Every time you say, "I'm not good enough. I always fail. Nobody understands me. I'm unlucky," your subconscious is paying attention. It doesn't analyze whether those statements are true. It simply records them, like a loyal assistant. Then it begins searching for evidence to support them. Imagine spending years telling yourself you're invisible. Eventually, your subconscious starts filtering reality through that belief. You stop noticing the people who appreciate you. You focus only on moments where you feel ignored, and suddenly your belief feels like proof. But it was never proof. It was a filter. Many of us are not seeing reality. We're seeing reality through stories we've been repeating for years. Let's talk about something deeper. Children absorb information differently than adults. They don't question everything. They simply accept much of what they experience. If a child constantly feels loved and valued, that feeling becomes part of their internal world. But if a child repeatedly feels rejected, criticized, or ignored, those experiences can leave invisible marks. Sometimes those marks follow people into adulthood. A person may look confident on the outside, successful, independent, strong, yet deep inside, their subconscious is still carrying old wounds, still asking questions like, am I enough? Will people leave me? Do I deserve love? The saddest part is that many adults don't even realize these questions are influencing their decisions. They simply feel the effects. They struggle to trust. They fear rejection. They overthink. They seek validation. Not because they're weak, but because old programming is still running in the background. Have you ever felt that something was wrong before you had evidence? Maybe you sensed tension in a room. Maybe you felt uneasy around someone. Maybe you knew a relationship was changing before any words were spoken. People often call this intuition. And while intuition isn't magic, your subconscious plays a major role in it. Your conscious mind can only process a limited amount of information at once. Your subconscious notices far more. Tiny changes in facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, patterns, details, things your conscious mind misses. Then it sends you signals, a feeling, a hunch, a sense that something isn't right. The problem is that many people have learned to ignore those signals. They second-guess themselves. They dismiss their instincts. And later, they wonder why they didn't listen. Think about how much information enters your mind every day. Social media, news conversations, videos, comments, opinions, fear, negativity. Your subconscious absorbs far more than you realize. That's why the content you consume matters. If you spend hours every day surrounded by negativity, criticism, and fear, those messages begin to settle into your mind. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly, like drops of water wearing away stone. Eventually, your thoughts begin to reflect what you've been feeding your subconscious. This is why protecting your mental environment is so important. Not because you should avoid reality, but because your mind becomes what it repeatedly consumes. Now here's the good news. The subconscious mind isn't permanent. It's programmable. And that's where real change begins. Not through forcing yourself, not through pretending, not through motivational quotes alone, but through repetition. Because repetition is the language of the subconscious. Think about how habits form. You repeat something enough times, and eventually it becomes automatic. The same principle applies to beliefs. The thoughts you repeatedly think become familiar. The emotions you repeatedly experience become normal. The actions you repeatedly take become part of your identity. Small changes repeated consistently create powerful transformations, not dramatic overnight changes, but steady ones, the kind that actually last. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting instant results. They spend years building negative beliefs, then expect those beliefs to disappear after one good week. It doesn't work that way. Healing is not a switch. It's a process, a conversation between who you've been and who you're becoming. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days old patterns will return. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. The subconscious mind learns through repetition. And unlearning takes repetition too. Be patient with yourself. Growth isn't always visible while it's happening. Sometimes the biggest changes occur quietly, beneath the surface, long before anyone can see them. Here's perhaps the most important thing you'll hear today. You are not every thought that enters your mind. You are not every fear. You are not every insecurity. You are not every painful belief you inherited from your past. Those things may exist inside your subconscious, but they are not your identity. The moment you become aware of a pattern, you gain power over it. Awareness creates choice, and choice creates change. That's why understanding your subconscious mind is so important, because you can't change what you don't see. But once you see it, everything begins to shift. The subconscious mind is like an invisible architect, quietly shaping your decisions, your relationships, your habits, your confidence, and the story you tell yourself about who you are. For years, it may have been writing parts of your life without your awareness. But today, you know something many people never realize. You can rewrite the script. You can challenge old beliefs. You can create new patterns. You can choose what you feed your mind. And little by little, you can become the person your subconscious once thought was impossible. Because the most powerful changes in life don't happen when the world around you changes. They happen when the world inside you changes. And sometimes, the quietest transformation becomes the most powerful one of all. If this video spoke to you, take a moment to reflect on one belief about yourself that you've been carrying for years. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Or is it just a story my subconscious learned long ago? That single question might change more than you realize.